Ah, good day, good morning, good evening, wherever you find yourself in this moment. My name is Victoria McMahon, and I'm an advocate with the Language of Consciousness Institute. And I've invited Lori Candon to join me in conversation today to share with you some of our thoughts, some of our experiences about what it means to live sentiently in our being, and in some of the ways in which we may register or experience that innate capacity to that we all have in being sentient, and what that really means. And I was just in conversation before we started with Lori about what it means to be sentient, to know we are a sentient being. So Lori, could you give some of your thoughts that you were just sharing, what rises for you in your own sentient moment of this?
Yes, I'd be honored to. The sentience or the sentient being within each of us is vast. And I equate it to my experiences and my relationship with Tai Chi. So I see my sentient being as like the totality of the yin yang symbol. It's like it encapsulated, it is all that is. It's like there. And within the Tai Chi symbol, there's the different halves. And with the with the half with this circle on it, I have it on my shirt. So it's you are a part of everything else. So this side is a little bit in this side is a little bit in this side. So that to me is the strength, stamina, and capacity of being with your sentient being. You are able to be in relationship with all that you are. So that may include your conditioned tendencies, or that those flight, fight responses that are just like animalistic, inherent in us also. It may be the racing of the mind of like trying to analyze and be with all scenarios that happens. I'm familiar with that. But ultimately, this sentient beingness is drawing all of that together. So you're operating from a quieting mind, or a quieter mind, a mind that is not directing. It's a mind that is with your heart, with your emotional being. And it's also with being in that grounded sensory way of being, through temperature change, or feeling of like the flow of the rush of energy, or like the butterflies in your stomach type of thing. So it's how do you bring coherency to all three of those dimensions, if you will, or parts of your being. In Tai Chi, we call those the dantians. So it's being with the both and of that. So you're operating with all of that at one time.
And you pinged me when you said being with the both and of that. And I'm thinking about the Tai Chi symbol on your shirt, and how you said everything is a part of everything else, that within those both sides are the little dots, that means the both and is I am a part of everything and everything is a part of everything else. And so I'm a part of everything else. And so we get this notion of how do we live our sentient registers, like you said, the senses of the body, the emotional register, the mental registers. How do we bring those all together in a cohesive way that we can hear and make distinction and discern with our mind, be responsive through our emotional realm, and use, like, really be connected to the body in a way that they all operate like in tandem is what comes to my mind.
Mhm.
So where does that, how does that land for you in your body?
I totally agree. And I'm like, I just went with that. And what it brought to um, my attention was your word discernment, because you said the mind discerning. And for me, it's more than the mind discerning. So it is, how am I operational, moving with those sensations? I'll just be in the, like, the physical sensation of it. How do we, me, all of us, operate with the wisdom of those sensory ways of being? If you happen to be walking down the road and you see like a car hit another car, your body is probably going to go right, and you might have a visceral reaction. So
I
with that
was
being
having
said, that
I was having that visceral reaction in my body, even as you just talked as if it were happening, but not really happening. I think we want to recognize and bring that awareness in the moment, that it doesn't have to happen in order for the body to register it.
yes, and that's beautiful, because yes, because with that, that's what I was going to kind of, I loved how you threaded it together. So it can be at the effect of external circumstances. And I have a story that goes with that. Then I can still have that and I'm like getting ready to go ziplining in Costa Rica or something like that. Now that is not like, oh my God, somebody just died. That's going to be like, woo-hoo! I am in the treetops of this beautiful rainforest in Costa Rica. But it's that same like, you know, sensation in my body. So the discernment in relationship to my external circumstances or my external landscape in which I find myself, how do I create space for the broader, deeper, wider beingness of being with my sentience?
And what comes to mind as you pose that question to us is I automatically think the awareness of simply stating that's possible develops a sense of being and knowing who we are and how we do respond to the do we know our own communication system, but with the body, with the emotional response, with the mental thought patterning that we have, do we have a clear understanding or comprehension of how our system communicates? And then if we if we're developing that, then we have what you referred to as that more of that wisdom mind that's beyond the mental thinking, that you can access that deeper wisdom of the sentient being to then make choices, have the ability to respond in joy, in fear, whatever that emotional response is, that you're with it, being with whatever is rising from your own deeper registers, and which is what we refer to as the living sentiently, is what comes up for me. Back to
Yes. And with that, really discovering our own, my phone's ringing, and even discovering where we are along that path. So recognizing for ourselves, like, well, I might not even know what my conditioned or habituated way of responding is. And how I feel that in my body. So really learning about that, learning about the more of like what is available, what is possible as you tap into like the cravings or the deeper observings or what have you, then you begin to have more of a engaged relationship with the both
and what that brings to mind to me is that the body has its language, and we may or may not know that language. We may be deeply familiar. We may be deciding that we're ready to explore that more. And at the Language of Consciousness Institute, that's really what a lot of what we're about is: how can you use the language of the body? How can you explore the language of the emotions and the language of the mind to become more familiar with this communication system that we call human, and to move beyond that, as you were saying, into the deepening language that we are innately sentient beings in a human physical body, so that we connect the communication between the physical human aspect of us with the being of who we are and the remembrance of that deeper nature of who we are, and create a language. And that's what the Language of Consciousness Institute is to give people an access point for creating a language through the writing of the templates, through the movement of sentience, what we call sentiently moving, through other artistic mediums, to give us the access to this sentient intelligence that is innately who we are. Any thoughts?
I want to reiterate that we are all that. Every single person on this earth is that. So we all have the beautiful plethora of diversity and gifts or uniqueness that we bring to the conversation, whether it's a conversation with ourselves, with our own communication system, if it's communication with others in community. And when we are able to take the moment to pause and honor the sentience, that's when great things happen. Because we just create space, not just, we create space for all that is.
And I want to go back to one other thing as we kind of close our conversation. In connection to moving from our sentient nature within ourselves, as you were just saying, and also into the world, into relationship with other humans, human beings, also in relationship to the natural world that we're a part of, that we can explore lots of different avenues within ourselves and our own conditioned tendencies, as you were saying, within ourselves in relationship to other human beings that are sentiently designed, and in our relationship to nature, and nature being sentiently designed, because that's the way that this reality is set up. So we have lots of access points, if you will, to explore the language of how we communicate, and be who we came here to be.
Yeah.
So one of the things I wanted to add in this conversation is that actually we have been invited to into a conversation with Liz Geyer from the Creative World Collaborative team, that meets on Fridays every week and explores and is in the company of different conversations. And so Liz has invited us to come and talk a little bit more about living sentiently and what it means to get access to your own sentient being nature. So I know I believe both of us are looking forward to being with Liz as we join her in conversation. So that'll be Creative World is on Fridays at 8 a.m. Pacific, I believe. You can go to tantramat.com and there will be a way to access the Creative World. And there probably, we'll see if we can put an attachment on the Facebook page for the Language of Consciousness Institute, to also give you access to Friday's Creative World conversation. Thanks for joining us today. And it's always good to be in your company, Laurie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, I'll